Are party finder requirements way too high for you? Are you not getting accepted into dungeon parties because you don't have max Necron armor and Terminator, yet all you were trying to do is beat Bonzo for the first time? Do you hate how party finder goons die all the time while you're stuck carrying? Then maybe soloing dungeons is right for you. As someone who has soloed every dungeon floor for first completion since I got Saul's recommendation post floor 3, I can say with confidence that solo dungeons is not only possible, but very manageable, even on a budget. This video will be teaching you all the skills you need to solo every dungeon floor in Hypixel Skyblock for first completion. No scuffed party finder runs or carries needed. This video will focus on entrance to floor 6. I will go over gear, catacombs level requirements, support items, and overall boss mechanics to get you started on your solo dungeon journey. Without further ado, let's get into entrance requirements. So for entrance, you need combat 15 to even enter this floor, and the gear is very cheap and as follows. Void Sword from the Lone Adventure for 200k coins, full Ender armor and equipment which is literally free, the armor and necklace drop from Enderman, cloak from Watchers, belt from Obsidian Defenders, gauntlet from the shiny blocks in the end, dragon shortbow from the questline in the end, also free, wand of healing from Zombie Slayer 1 and only 5,000 coins, rogue sword for speed, also 5,000 coins, AOTE for movement for another 300,000, grappling hook for 2,000, dungeon orb from Mort. So therefore, this setup is only around 512,000 coins and easy to get, even on Iron Man. This is a quick scan of all the enchantments and reforges on everything. For your magical power, you want at least 50 to 100 magical power, and that should be good. And you want to put your power on fortuitous, because the extra crit chance is always nice. Alright, so the way I like to solo entrance is to actually pick tank, because it gives extra health. And my tank level absolutely sucks, so you're not going to get that much more EHP than I do with tank. Obviously, you can't enter entrance alone because you need floor 3 comp and Saul's recommendation, but whatever, it's just so I can have entrance to floor 6 instead of floor 4 to 6. You want either a rare or an epic Enderman pet for this floor because it's actually very good. You will not be getting 22,000 EHP, you'll be getting more like 5,000. Like, and bear in mind, I am Catacombs 29, as I said. So you will not be doing the amount of damage I'm doing. You will not have Shellman on your pet. So you will be taking a lot of knockback, just keep that in mind. Which, the way I like to do this is I don't like to get a lot of secrets on my entrance run. Just because you don't need 300 score. And you don't even need 270. And the only reason you don't need 270 is because the highest rank you can get on entrance is a B. Then open the blood door, and now it's probably best to grab secrets. Super Boom on the Bazaar is actually really cheap. It's only 17k a stack right now. So you should probably pick some of it up before you even do dungeons. Watcher overall is pretty easy. Use Seismic Wave whenever you can, just because it destroys all the enemies pretty quickly. Boom. That's the entrance solo. If you get under 100 Cata XP, you have to redo the entrance. Because you need 100 Cata XP to get to Catacombs level 1, and therefore be able to unlock floor 1. Alright, so for floor 1 solo, you want to upgrade your Ender Armor into Unstable Dragon Armor, since it gives way more EHP and DPS, and the extra crit chance is very nice. Enchant it with Growth 5 Prod 5, and reforge it to Fierce for extra EHP and damage. And it has a combat 16 requirement, so it's really easy to get. And very cheap, being only around 2.4 million. And this is a clip of me enchanting it. You also want to upgrade your weapon to the aspect of the dragons, and reforge it to sharp for extra crit chance, and use the enchanting table to give it basic enchantments. Final upgrade for floor 1 is to upgrade your Wand of Healing to a Wand of Mending, because it's only Zombie Slayer 3 and extremely cheap. Your pet should still be the rare or epic Enderman, and you should at least be Catacombs level 1 before attempting this floor. But if you are struggling, get more Catacombs levels. It's always good to overgear, but Catacombs 1 is just the benchmark. Alright, let's go. Alright, so the boss that you take on in floor 1 is named Bonzo, and at the start of the fight, he starts in the center of the map, he says some dialogue, and then you're into the fight. So what you do for this phase is that you hit Bonzo and get his 250k health down to 0, and when he spawns his undeads, just focus down Bonzo, and if he does his Wither Skull attack, you'll be fine. And then in phase 2, he revives as a clown, where he does boosted damage, so just decide to keep hitting him, hitting him, hitting him. If you don't damage him fast enough, he will go to the middle and start pelting balloons at you, so you have to hide behind a pillar, or he will insta-kill you. So just wait for this ability to stop, or to shoot him, and boom, that is how you solo floor 1. Alright, so for floor 2, you want to use the same gear with the Unstable Dragon and the Aspect of the Dragons and the same utility items, but instead you want a Bonzo Mask, because it gives an extra life in dungeons, and is already a dungeon piece, so you get a lot more stats when in the catacombs. Alright, let's do floor 2. You keep the same pet, the same weapon, and the same 3/4 Unstable. Floor 2 unlocks at Catacombs level 3, but you shouldn't be soloing it until Catacombs level 6 or 7. And this is because this is a very dangerous boss. So what you want to do is stand behind the purple crypt, because that is where the priest is, because he heals the rest of them. A magical power of at least 200 is recommended. When Scarf releases his minions, focus on the priest, because if you don't kill the priest, he will heal the rest of them and you'll lose the fight. So as I do, just DPS the priest, and be careful about warrior, because he's the most damaging one. But just make sure to keep hitting priest until he dies. And then go on warrior, because he's the most damaging. Then archer, because you're already next to him. And then mage, he doesn't really do anything, so just use him as a punching bag or something, I don't know. All I can really say for this is just hit him. So now phase 2 of the fight is on. So you want to go back to priest, because he respawns. And he can heal Scarf as well. So just take him out first. But now Scarf will be released along with the minions. So you will take a lot of damage in this phase, meaning that you have to take out Priest really quickly. If you have lower DPS, take out Warrior before you do Scarf, but if you have high enough kata or skill, take out Warrior and Scarf at the same time. So just hit him, hit him, hit him until he dies, and boom, floor 2 solo completed. But if the fight goes on for a really long time, Scarf has 2 other attacks that can take you out. As you see, there's a Soul Sand Blizzard, which gives you slowness, and then as you see now, Scarf rises, and then he shoots his Wither Skulls at you, meaning you have to either circle around or stand behind blocks to survive it, and then just go back to hitting Scarf, and now he's really dead. For floor 3, you want to be at least Catacombs level 12, so you can dungeonize your Unstable Dragon Armor and your Aspect of the Dragons, to have a lot more EHP and a lot more DPS. As you see, I have 1 star my Unstable Dragon Armor, but you should at least 2 or 3 star it. Hot Potato Books are also a really good upgrade to put on these for the extra EHP and on the Aspect of the Dragons, but I chose not to for this solo, but you should have Hot Potato Books. I recommend at least 250 to 300 magical power for this floor, since that's still extremely cheap and easy to get, and keep your power on warrior. The only real new one you need is the Florid Zombie Sword, for a bit of panic healing, which is always really nice in dungeons. Alright, so in floor 3, the main boss is named the Professor, and he's in the middle of the boss, and you can't attack him in the first phase. In the first phase, he yaps for a very long time, and then he releases his 4 guardians. Healthy is the one I like to go for first, because he has this ability where he can Giga Heal all of the Guardians to full health. All these Guardians have 1,000,000 health, but Reinforced has 1.2 million. And they all respawn within 10 seconds of being killed, but at a portion of their current health. Then I like to go for Laser, because his main ability is to shoot a laser at you, which actually does a lot of damage over time. And if you don't have Shelm yet, it will literally knock you back, and it's so annoying. So just take Laser out. And then Reinforced I like to take out because he's the tanky one. And he spawns the Rogue Guardians and has a pretty light TNT attack. So I like to take him out next. Then I like to go for the Chaos Guardian because his special attack is that when you damage him enough, he will discharge and do a lot of damage to you. But the reason I take him out last is because you can stay far away from him and he does no damage. And he doesn't damage you unless provoked, which is why I take him out last and focus more on the other three as I'm doing here. And I will give you like a 20 times speed of this phase because at low DPS it really takes that long. Once all the guardians are dead at once, the buffers around Professor will start to flicker, and then he will come out as a human and start to attack you. So just start hitting him, hitting him, hitting him, as I do right here. He has a very similar attack to Scarf, where he uses Prismarine instead of Soul Sand now, which is literally just the same attack, just Control-C, Control-V'd. His other attack in this phase is also very similar to Scarf, where he rises and does Wither Skulls. That's literally the exact same thing. Like, just the same attack. Just do that again. Like, you've lived this before. At 800,000 health, he will merge with the Guardians into a very big Guardian with 3 million health and all of the abilities of the 3 Guardians at once and spawn a lot of Rogue Guardians. So what I like to do, as you just saw, is Ragnarok as a Berserker. So I have all that attack speed and just start hitting him, hitting him, hitting him, and using my Florid when I get low just so I can survive this part and stepping away if I need to. And boom, floor 3 done. So the next floor after floor 3 is floor 4, which I would also do at Catacombs level 12. And the only new thing you really need for this floor is decoys to distract the spirit mobs. The best upgrade to your gear that you can make is just at least 3 or 4 star in your gear now, just so that you have that extra damage and health. In this boss fight, the boss is named Thorn, and he's a big gas that will go around in circles for the entire boss fight. So what I like to do is place decoys around the edge, just so that the bats get distracted and get onto them, as shown here. And for this part, you just stay AFK as the bats go to the decoys. And the reason you do this is just when you're in the grandstands, you don't get attacked by spirit bats, because if you're in the grandstands while there's spirit bats, you're gonna get nuked. And then take out these spirit mobs from underneath and circle around them, just so you can take a few of them out. But some of them should also latch onto the decoys. When 25 spirit mobs are killed, a spirit bear will spawn, which is a mini boss with 5 million health. But as you see at the same time, there's also these spirit chickens, which at lower kata, these will nuke you instantly. So just make sure to stay in the grandstands, just so you don't get absolutely nuked by these guys. Which, it's not that this boss fight is hard, it's just that it's extremely slow. Alright, so now what I like to do is I like to walk backwards while hitting the spirit bear, just so I don't get crowded by mobs. But the thing I love about the AOTD in this floor is that I can blast them off the spirit bear. But when you kill the spirit bear, a spirit bow drops, which is the only way to damage Thorn. So what I like to do is I like to shoot him when he's in line, so he takes damage easily. And if you shoot him 4 times, the boss fight is over. But there is a catch to this. Every time you shoot him, he will go faster. But on the 4th phase, he will switch directions, making him really hard to hit. And now I will give a montage of all the bow shots, because this is the exact same. And that's number 2, and number 3, and number 4, and boom. That is how you solo floor 4 in Hypixel Skyblock. Overall, this boss fight takes a lot of getting used to, but when you get used to it, it's not the worst thing in the world. Alright, so now it's time for one of my favorite floors, floor 5. You want to replace your equipment with the Rift Necklace and the highest dojo belt you can get since they are better than their Ender alternatives. You want to keep the same armor, just start as much as you can now. Enderman can stay, which you want to switch your class to Archer now, because the Livids do a lot of damage, and the easiest bow to get, as I'm showing, is the Spirit Short Bow. You want to upgrade your Wand of Mending to the Wand of Restoration, since it's only Zombie Slayer 6, like, it's really not that bad. It's only around a million to actually craft, but then everything else in floor 5 stays the same. You unlock this floor at Catacombs 14, but I would solo it at Catacombs 15 just for the extra 9% stats and a magical power of 350 to 400. Now it's time for floor 5's boss fight. Alright, let's go. So in this boss fight, the boss you face is named Livid, and he is now in the center of the map, as always, with a lot of Endermen surrounding him, which are pieces of Thorn's soul that he uses to duplicate himself. All you have to do is kill the correct Livid, and that's literally it. If you look at the ceiling, the color on it is actually the same color as the name of the correct Livid that you have to kill, which in my case is dark green, but it can be any color. So what I like to do is snipe him from afar and play extremely careful, because these guys do a lot of damage with my lackluster gear. Livid has lots of attacks such as shooting you, throwing potions at you, or as you just saw, periodically dash you, which is personally the most annoying ability because it switches your camera angle, which you do see a lot in this fight, that he does switch your camera angle a lot. But other than that, this floor is extremely simple, because after you kill the correct Livid, the boss is over. Alright, so now the final floor for this video is floor 6. Where now you're going to need a lot of upgrades. You're going to want to upgrade your Ender Cloak to your Shadow Assassin Cloak, because it gives a lot more damage. Replace your Unstable Dragon Armor with Shadow Assassin, because it's the best damage armor set pre-floor 7. Keep your Bonzo Mask, but reforge everything now to Ancient, just to get that extra crit damage. And now you need an entirely new tank set for the Terracotta phase, which consists of a Mender Fedora, and then Protector Dragon Armor. All of it should be on Giant. Your weapon should be the Hyper Cleaver, because it has an ability which it gives you AoE damage, which is very useful in this floor since, as you saw, I switched to Healer class, which you will see in boss why I use Healer. The first time I soloed this floor was Catacombs 22, which is a very good benchmark since you have a bit more EHP and DPS than the unlocked at Cata 19. Finally, the two most beneficial upgrades you can do are a Wand of Atonement and a Mana Flux Power Orb for extra healing, because the Terracotta phase does a lot of damage. So before the Terracotta phase and before I enter the portal, I switched to my tank setup, and now ready to go in boss. Alright, the reason you want it to be healer for this floor is because the Terracotta phase does a lot of damage to you, and you do not have the DPS to take out the Terracottas aggressively, so you have to tank it. Which, the healer's ability is the healing circle, which when shift, it heals you a lot. And make sure to spam your mana flux every 30 seconds and your wand of atonement as much as you can, so that you're always healing while hitting all the terracottas with the hyper cleaver, just so it gives the siphon enchant. Another very useful EHP tool that you can use is a legendary blue whale pet for a lot of extra health, which is basically essential if you're Kata 22, because it makes this boss fight a lot easier, because you basically never die. Finally, another upgrade you can use is the Dodge 4 potion, which has a 40% chance for you to dodge attacks, which gives you 40% more EHP in this. The Terracotta phase goes on for 2 minutes, but for every Terracotta you kill, it goes down by 1 second. After the Terracottas, Sidon releases his 4 giants to come and attack you. They all have 25 million health each, and you have to take them all out before the next boss can start. The way that I like to do this is I like to get them all in my AoE, but focus down Bigfoot because he jumps in the air like that and does a lot of damage. The easiest way to tank the giants is to stay in the healing circles by shifting. After Bigfoot dies, I like to go for Diamante next because he has this ability where he throws a sword at you, which is honestly the second most annoying one. So I just keep shifting and keep hitting. If at all you ever accidentally wake up the golems as I do in this clip, no fear because we have a plan for that. So what I like to do is I like to AOTE onto this ledge and shift for the healing circles so I can tank. So I keep shifting and hitting with my bow because on the ledge it's really hard to hit these guys. So I bow and I sword when he's close, I bow when he's far. Then, after Diamante dies, I next like to go for Laser. And the reason I like to go for Laser next is because his laser attack is the next one that does the most damage. So I like to keep hitting him. And Jolly Pink doesn't really do anything, so you don't really have to worry about Jolly Pink that much. And boom, now Laser is dead, and now we go for Jolly Pink. The only real attack that Jolly Pink has is to throw a chunk of the ground at you, which this does like barely any damage compared to the rest of them. So you can kind of just sleep during this phase. Like, just make sure you're still on your keyboard, but you could probably sleep and still survive this. That's how niche this attack is. Finally, when Jolly Pink is dead, Sidon brings up his giant. The one that has been hiding under us this whole time. And then he merges with it. The way that I like to solo this for the first time is to bow him down, since he has all the abilities of the others. And then just keep teleporting, because this guy is very dangerous, and he will do a lot of damage. When he jumps, since that's Bigfoot's ability, it does a lot of damage, so teleporting is very smart and going back and forth between ledges. Because of the amount of EHP that you need for this boss fight, you are getting basically 0 damage. Therefore, this boss fight for the first completion takes literally forever. Like, my first solo took over 35 minutes. The only real way to get actual damage is to have a magical power of at least 450 on Bloody or Silky. And boom! Now that is how you do floor 6 solo in Hypixel Skyblock, aka the last one for this video. And that is how you avoid party finder requirements in Hypixel Skyblock dungeons by soloing every floor instead of dealing with party finder. And if you found this guide helpful, please consider subscribing and liking. It would help out the channel a ton. Anyway, signing off.